speaker brings decades of experience in systems, leadership, and transformation. His journey reflects how structured thinking and discipline can unlock not just performance but human potential. Please welcome Mr. Sudalai Veerapandian, ZF Head of Quality. Let us put our hands together to welcome him onto the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was born in a small village near Tuticorin, where life follows seasons, not schedules. Basically, I came from a farming background. My parents are belonging to the farmers, and I was looking for a big dream, what I have to become, and my family is not very familiar with the technical words, but they understood the clear purpose, how to achieve the outcome. In agriculture, you cannot predict the outcomes or you cannot control the outcomes, but you can always change the conditions to the desired outcome. You prepare the soil, you choose the right seeds, you manage the water, and you stay consistent. And then the outcome follows. As a child, I had a big dream to become a doctor. But when the time comes, my family said very clear no. And I felt completely I'm lost. And I was into a little bit of confusion. What should happen? But later, I chose engineering. It was not a rejection, it was a redirection. So, and then I understood life doesn't go in the way you want. Engineering, maybe, it gives me an opportunity to learn different perspective. From engineering, what I understood is to look at different systems and look at everything in a systemic behavior. So that is what I learned. And from that perspective, if I look at the outcomes are not really decided, rather it is conditioned with various parameters. So as an example from my engineering work, I work for an R&D firm and we had a lot of challenges and we have to stabilize one of the car's touchscreen performance, and we got feedback from people the system is slow or sometimes unresponsive. When we looked at, is the system really failing on the whole or it is working as expected in parts? So when we looked at things in detail, what we understood, each of the system really work or each of the parts really work in the way it is expected. But when it is aligned together, there is a small misalignment in every part and its behavior when it is put together. So we found we want to find the root cause, and generally in R&D products, you always have a pressure in terms of customer timeline, higher expectation, and also the demand from the market. So we were trying to fix that, but we were not close to the root cause. We were trying to do the testing week after week with various parameters being changed, but we were not close to the root cause. All of a sudden, we slightly looked from a different perspective. What if no parts are failing? And maybe something we need to look at as a holistic system. So that is something which we started looking at. And as you all know, as engineers, we were trained to look at how do we prevent the system from failure? Like what could go wrong? How do you prevent it? And how do you make it reliable? We applied that thought and we were able to find the small issues and we enhanced the smaller parts in an integrated manner. And what we found holistically the system started behavior in a better way. So what I try to convey here, the system need not be given with a bigger solution. It could be a small solution, but it is well planned and designed and looked at the as granular level as possible. And if you look at, the results are not accidental and they are designed. So with this learning from engineering, I have a question whether it can be applied to the other areas as well. And what we found, it is not engineering concept. It can be applied across any parameter or perimeter. And what we understood from the people point of view, when I was handling a team, the same logic is applied. So when my team is not performing as expected, as an individuals or as team, we generally come to a conclusion that it could be a person failure. But actually, if you look at, it is not a person failure, it is the reaction of the person to the environment where they are put into. And if you fix the environment, the same people can give better deliveries and deliver better performance. That is what we understood. And in my experience, when people didn't perform as expected, we didn't challenge them, rather looked at what can be changed in the environment. Just as an example, I enabled more feedback loops, interaction space, and more freedom of thoughts to come up with new ideas, and that helped to improve their performance. So when we look at life, we all want good health, good growth, and good peace of life. So are we really designing the outcome what we want to achieve? Or we are looking at the outcome and not worried about the conditions? So always try to fix the system, not the symptoms. So most of the time we end up in fixing the symptoms, not the system. And we don't look at the symptoms much early from the system, and we always look at later more focusing on the outcome. So if you fix the system, the outcome is guaranteed. This is what at least I took it as a learning. And you can see what we have done. Mostly, we looked at individual parts and later we fixed it and it could improve the results. And from the personal point of view, always you plan your conditions based on the outcome what you want to achieve, and that yields the outcome, desired outcome basically. So sometimes people think if I have to do some actions, whether it has to be a large scale action, definitely no. Your actions can be very small and it is helping you to condition against the outcome what you want to achieve. And with the small habits, you will always be able to achieve the better results. And when I ask myself, what am I did differently, or what did I do differently to achieve something, the answer is always disappointing. We don't have really some actions in place which will really take us to the final desired outcome. But all of us have a big dream to achieve, but without looking into the conditions, it is practically difficult to achieve all your outcomes. So, the message that I would like to leave you here is don't chase the outcomes, design the conditions what creates them. Finally, if you look at, I didn't become a doctor in medicine, but I could chase my dream as Dr. Sudalai Veerapandian by designing the conditions in the other fields, what I have learned. Thank you.